Today's video, we're going to be working on this Yamaha Blaster. Another one, 1988, first year, I believe. The old drum brake style cable brakes. We actually had the motor in a box, which I'll show you the box of stuff that we have left. The engine was in a box, all torn apart. We had a used crankshaft from a previous build 5 years ago. We put new bearings in the bottom end. You guys saw a couple of videos where we did bearings and such. An eBay top end kit. We had our engine builder do a little port cleanup and polish on the exhaust port. Stock reeds and everything else. New clutch we put in it. We didn't get a ton of footage on rebuilding it. We were just kind of in the heat of the moment, cranking it out. It looks really clean, actually, the engine. How's the clutch feel?
Sounds like arm pump.
Stiff. The cable, guys, for the clutch is extremely stiff. So we're going to use it as is for now, but it might need a clutch cable.
We'll try to move it again.
Yeah. We greased up the A-arms, power washed the frame when we had the engine out. It's a super clean little bike, little ATV. What we're doing today is we're going to finish up. We got to rebuild the carburetor and OEM, put a Taurus Delete throttle cap and cable in it, and then and tap the idle screw and set that in there. We got to put our earbox boot on and connect that with the rear plastics. Put a bunch of hardware in the rear plastics.
Yep.
Finish up the throttle block and get a cap for that to hold that on the handlebars. And then we should be good. We've heard it run. We know it runs. We just got to get it all finalized.
You saying about chain and sprockets?
Chain and sprockets is also going to be going on. That'll be the last thing we do. We'll get it running first. What's that?
Those sprocket bolts look like fun over here.
They'll come out.
They got tabbed over a while.
Yeah. And if not, we'll just run that sprocket. Anyways, we got a cheap China sprocket kit, right?
Yep.
From eBay. So we're going to get cracking at it and put the stock exhaust pipe on it. Thing runs, everything works for the most part. It's missing a tail light and such, but we will get cracking at it. I'll have you guys point it over here so I can work on the carburetor, get that rebuilt. Caleb's going to work on the throttle, cable, and situation. We'll touch base as we go. We're doing the Taurus Delete kit. We bought one that was for a Banshee, I believe, so we got two of them. Just in case we ever have to do one again, it's the same thing for a Banshee. Banshee basically uses two blaster carburetors. They give you a drill bit, a tap, and an idle screw. You're going to want to put it on a blaster. It's going to be on the choke side. They actually have a guide hole on each side. Don't drill it on the wrong side. Don't drill it on the oil injection side, because you need it on the opposite of the alignment pin, which the alignment pin is down in here on the right side. You want the idle screw to hit that notch there. So that's got to be on the left side, choke side. So basically we'll just eyeball it the best we can. We'll use that as our guidance. I'll have Caleb kind of get me lined up as square as I can, both X and Y axis, if you can envision that. It's not like a machinist perfection thing you have to be, as long as it's in there. Do this when the carburetor is completely disassembled. Like, I have every jet, everything out of it, because I'm going to go through after I drill and tap this, blow everything out, clean everything out, rebuild the carb, and you're good to go.
There's going to be metal shavings. If you try to do it with it in the machine, you can do it, but I would advise having like a vacuum in the intake on the back side of it.
Exactly.
But yeah.
So what we're going to do...
You don't want to go head down on it?
There we go. So, like I said, left side, opposite of the alignment pin.
Where your gas inlet is.
Yep. I'm looking. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna have you, Caleb, I'm gonna have you hold down the carb. I'm not gonna go into your hands or anything because I can't. It's gonna be in the. You just hold it straight. Yep, we're just coming through. Yep. You just go through a couple times.
And you don't want to push too hard and hit the other side, because then you could...
It looks nice and square too.
Yeah.
So you drill through. You're going to want to make sure you don't have a burr on the inside after tapping the threads. You can go in there and just, if you have to, take a little bit of sandpaper on your finger and just kind of clean the burr off. But I can see right now we have zero burr.
Yeah, looks good.
Looks perfect. Guys, if you're curious, it's M6 by 0.75 is the thread pitch for the idle screw.
No straw.
So if you're somebody that has their own taps, M6 by 0.75.
Just lubed up the tap.
Yep, so I'm gonna get it kind of started, and then I'll have Caleb eyeball me each direction. If you drilled it square, technically your tap
looks good.
we'll follow. I'm gonna just get it kind of.
Yeah, you're looking good.
So I'm looking at it. You know, the hole is crooked, so it's kind of goofy.
Right.
What we do have to do after it's done, guys, is we'll have to take a grinder or a file and flatten that off. But you can tap it first. Or actually, maybe we should wait, grind it, and then tap it, because then the threads will be goofy.
You can file it.
Yeah, let's do that first, guys.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
That's what we're gonna do.
You'll kind of feel it if you're
You
tapping
can go back and forth a little bit.
off, you know, because it'll get pretty hard.
You want to go until you can see just the tip of the tap protrude through the carburetor.
Any protrusion, boss. It's a long hole. Pause.
Right?
Especially the more it's been used, the hole gets longer. Right, Spike?
Mm-hmm. Should be tapped plenty far. Because you don't need threads all the way in, because the...
Well, he goes about halfway in,
Mm-hmm.
roughly.
That's what you said.
Got him good.
So we got her threaded in there pretty much till the tap was flush with the threads, were flush with the edge of where the idle screws are going to mount to. We'll take this all the way out. So it's a pretty fine thread. You know, M6 by 0.75 is very, very fine. I don't know if that's the finest M6 they make or if there's a 0.5. But... So let's take my air nozzle. So I'll show you guys the finished product there.
Looks pretty good.
Looks pretty solid. I guess I'll just test fit the idle screw in.
Watery smooth. So you kind of go till it just peeks through there a little bit. Yep, you're through.
So we might have to file that thing down further yet. Depending, I gotta set the, now I'll clean it out and I'll set the slide in and see if it actually lifts the slide at all.
Right.
Take some brake cleaner.
And we did get a new slide with the retainer on it.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the company that?
I have no clue. Is that
I'll pull them up.
So we'll set our slide in there, this direction. And then, like I said, I'm gonna thread the idle screw in, because we may have to trim.
Company called Dirt Fanatics.
May have to
Shout out
trim,
Dirt Fanatics.
trim that back a little bit, depending on if it moves at all. Yeah, we might have to file that down some more.
How are we looking?
It didn't really raise the slide at all.
Oh, you turned it all in?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we ran into when we did one on a Banshee, guys. So now I gotta take that down further, probably another 1/16 of an inch, to get this to even do anything. You wanna make sure it's able to lift your slide up and down. You're not gonna need to move it much. You know, if you're tuned right, it's not gonna take much. So we'll have to do some more filing. Like I said, the threads don't start for another 1/16 of an inch or so. So I'm gonna file it down just until the threads are ready, and if I have to start it with the tap again, I'll clean it up. Alrighty guys, working on the rebuild of the carb. We got one of them cheap Titan performance carburetor kits. There's the part number. 12 bucks on eBay, I think. Gets a nice fiber gasket. All the necessary stuff, needle and seat. The needle seats on these are O-ring press fit. I usually put a little bit of silicone grease or something on them to slip them in there. Just a dab. Gotta take a razor blade here and cut this. Yeah. So just slice that open. Get our gasket out. We'll throw our gasket in right away. It only goes in one way, so can't really mess it up too bad. Sits down in there. Work on our needle and seat. It's this piece here. The smaller diameter is obviously going to be going down. The larger diameter is going to be facing up. That's where the float needle goes in. I'll take a little bit of my Sil Glide here. I'll put it on my finger just a dab. I'll get that on the O-ring portion of this. Like I said, just a very, very tiny bit. Get that in there. And then we push that in. We have a retainer here that holds the needle seat in place. That Phillips screwdriver, I can do that real quick. Any luck getting that out? And you see how that's got to go back in. And that's the Caleb's off camera working on hurting himself and also putting an airbox together. So we'll get our little retainer. Got our needle and seat in, the retainer, our new float needle. Looking at the float height, typically guys, you want the float to be level, the top of the float level, straight across with the gasket surface. This one is quite good. It does have the little spring-loaded anti-vibration plunger on the needle, so you don't want that. So just so that's touching there is where the float height is. I can't remember the spec off the top of my head, but I always refer to the service manual in terms of the actual float height in millimeters from the gasket surface to the top. But we are very close to straight across, which is just about right. So everything's working. So that is good. Retainer's in. Now, the kit comes with new main jet, pilot jet. Probably going to reuse this original 230 Mikuni. I like the OEM main jets better. I'll use the pilot jet from the kit, but I'm going to reuse the 230 main jet. And that's stock for this machine. We're running a stock machine anyways, so should be good. We got our tube here, or emulsion tube, or needle jet, whatever you want to call it. This is a P6. Basically, just want to make sure you can spray through. If you want to hand me that brake cleaner real quick. Want to be able to spray through every one of those little bitty holes in it with carburetor cleaner, compressed air. Make sure you got no restriction. These only go in one direction. There's a little alignment pin. I don't know if Caleb, if you can zoom in on that. That notch in the emulsion tube has to line up with the notch in the carburetor, so that can only go in one direction. And then getting them back in is a little bit tricky. Sometimes I use a pencil that's softer to pilot that top portion when we're going back together with these. What this one was missing, and I think we have to go in our hardware kit, there's a little washer that goes underneath the main jet on top of the emulsion tube. Otherwise, the main jet and the emulsion tube can actually just float around in there without that washer. There's actually a little edge that it sits on. So main jet looks clean. Can't put that in yet till I get that washer. I'll throw the pilot jet in. Before I started the camera, I did go through and blow through every single passage on the carburetor with carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner, and then compressed air to finish it off. Everything's cleaned up, so I know all the passages are good. We have a 32.5 pilot, which is stock for this machine. Gonna need yourself a real skinny screwdriver to get these pilot jets in, guys. And then, like I said, no need to go crazy Hulk tight on those. And then if you look into the light, you can actually see through both of those jets when you have them in. Then you know you got the passages clean. It was missing that washer, like I said. You can get these washers, if you go to Harbor Freight, get the metric bolt kit with the M8 and M6 bolts and washers and nuts. The M5 or M6 washer actually fits perfectly in here. It's the exact size. And we used it on what, that Indy, Caleb?
Oh, yeah.
On Wax's Indy.
Yeah.
Put that in there. Tighten up your main jet. Plenty tight. Everything looks great. float's in, float looks good. Everything's sealing good. Let's get our gasket sitting on there correctly. And our float bowl is cleaned out. Make sure you guys spray through your, I think it's called a leak jet. It's a passage right here for the choke circuit, I believe is what its main purpose is for. Make sure you can spray through there and it comes out. That is definitely something to clean when you have the carburetor apart. Yep. So float bowl's good. Everything looks good on it. Just gonna take some compressed air and just blow off the outside a little bit. Pilot air screw has a new adjuster and new spring. We'll set that in. We'll set that to about 1.5 turns and adjust accordingly once we get the bike running. So that's fully seated. And half, 1, half. So 1.5 turns there. It does give you a needle, which I don't think we have a needle, right? We got to use this one.
Correct.
So it gives us a needle Y144. I'm assuming that's close to stock. I'm going to put the needle clip obviously in the middle position. These retainer clips are definitely not as good as OEM or Mikuni ones, but it will work. Nice and clean. The only thing we have to do left is, finish up our throttle slide. Actually, I did forget one item. I got to take the bowl back off. I got to put our anti-splash shield guard back inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and then we're set. So I always forget those dang on things. So I'm gonna get that off quick and then we'll be done. Then we'll get this thing hooked onto the bike. Lining up our new, so this is gonna be a little tedious. You gotta get the needle to go into the tube while also having it lined up.
You're in. Down. You want me to push it in?
I think we're good, right?
Yep.
Nice. We got our seal up in the throttle cap. Probably have to adjust some of the, possibly some free play out. See, because when I spin this down, now I got to spin the adjuster in. And like I said, we'll tighten that down. Is there any free play, Caleb? A lot. Good.
When you adjust out, because they're maxed in.
So I'm going to actually go, like in the middle here. I'll tighten it, and then we'll adjust the free play out up at our throttle lever. When we rebuilt the carb, it did leak for the first initial time. That's usually because the needle and seat is dry. After that, it's good to go. Oil injection was bled out previously, so we should be good. We reconnected that. I'm just going to choke it and see if she fires up. So, and then we're going to have to see if the idle is set correctly, and then I'll have Caleb otherwise loosen the jam nut and kind of mess with that. So, I'll see if the choke stays. Yeah, I'll hold it out. Pretty flooded. that air filter is a little choked up, I think. When we took the air filter off, ran a lot better. So she's a little bit rich. I can always adjust the air screw out a little bit too to help with that and seeing where the needle's at, but seems to rip good after we got that nasty old air filter off.
This thing's gonna be violent. No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's probably This is going to be the first attempt to drive this machine. We're hoping everything works. It runs. We don't have a legit air filter in it. We put the lid on, cleaned it all out. We're not going to ride in anything dirty or dusty right now. We just want to kind of see if it'll move on to its own power. We got a new gold chain and Chinese sprockets.
So we have to adjust the clutch.
Yeah, we might have to adjust the clutch. So we don't know, like I said, if it's going to work, if the gears will work. I'm hoping they will. Let's see if she'll fire up and... Yeah, have Caleb drive it most likely.
Yeah, we'll have him kick it with the boots.
Yeah.
You got the gas on? I don't know if I turned it off.
Yeah, it's on. Try not to open it. Shall see if it'll move.
I keep it low RPM.
Dude,
Wow, dude,
it's so peppy.
You see that third gear? You see that third gear wheelie?
Dude, the low end grunt is unreal.
It's like it's got nothing on top. It's like
It doesn't
the
pull you
porting.
away. It's all mid range and low end.
The porting changed the power band a little bit.
And the compression on this, I think we like I said, we use the thinnest base gasket and the thinnest head gasket, so we have the most compression we can get. And low port timing, which is going to make it gruntier down low. So, I don't know, I like this thing fast. It's faster than that 04 we had. Like I said, we can't drive it much because we don't have an air box. We're just going to tighten up the chain a little bit.
Right.
We might put another heat cycle through it.
Yep.
But man, it runs amazing. Amazing. I mean, honestly, it's
You don't even feel a tough clutch pull.
and it's so smooth.
Oh.
The clutch is great. No slipping on the clutch.
I can feel that. Look at that. Loosen right up.
Yep. The clutch, guys, that Chinese clutch, it's nice and smooth. Pulls.
Neutral, easy as heck.
Yep.
Well, guys,
Basket case. Here, look at the box, guys. This is the box it came in.
I wish I would have took a picture of what we had
Yeah.
before.
So it all came in this here plastic tub. The entire engine. You can see all the old burnt clutch plates. Like I said, it was just an entire basket. Even got a set of V-Force reeds with it, guys. A full set of V-Force reeds, which we could throw in if we really wanted to jet up and do some stupid stuff. We just got to adjust the toe on the one.
Yeah,
wheel.
you guys can see it's a little.
Left front's towed in a lot. We just got to adjust that tie rod end. Looks like somebody messed with it. I don't know why. But. And then just a few finishing touches on the cosmetics. An air filter. We'll get a Maxima filter for it. We got the stock air cleaner cage right over there, so we just got to get a Maxima $10 filter. Thing runs amazing, guys. Like, wow.
Super torquey. Like the low to mid is unreal.
Oh, it's amazing. So we're just gonna tighten that chain up, and that was the first ride, guys. So I'm pretty impressed with the machine. We're what total investment? We're like less than $500. But yeah, that's the basket case blaster that we bought and had her going with minimal effort.
From basket case to beast.
Yep. So hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Leave a like and subscribe.